A lot of people that I play Commander with almost always have bigger, flashier commanders that are just generically powerful and not very fun to play against or play with. So that's why today we'll have a look at some of the more underrated commanders and how to build a deck around them. First up is Legolas, Counter of Kills. This is one of my favourite legendaries I own, and it reads Reach. Whenever you scry, if Legolas Counter of Kills is tapped, you may untap it. Do this only once each turn. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, put 2 1/1 counters on Legolas. The first thing I thought for this card was, oh, an elf tribal deck, but it doesn't actually have any specific abilities that buff elves, so I think it could be a great tank commander, destroying opponents' creatures to buff yours. A good strategy for this deck would be having lots of mass damage cards, destroying all your opponent's weak creatures to massively improve yours. You'll also want some scry cards to untap Legolas. You can attack, scry, untap, and be able to block the next turn with your strongest creature. Plus he has Reach to block any annoying flying creatures. You can get this card for about 15 cents, so you won't be losing much cash here. Next up we have Garna, the Blood Flame. Garna is a really interesting commander that reads Flash. When Garna the Blood Flame enters the battlefield, return to your hand all creature cards in your graveyard that were put there from anywhere this turn. Other creatures you control have haste. It is a human warrior with Rakdos colors. The main ability of this commander is the second one, where you can return cards from your graveyard to your hand that were put there this turn. Because this has Flash, you can cast it on your opponent's turn to return your good creatures after a major attack. For the deck you want an attack-focused strategy that is helped along with Garna's third ability. Other creatures you control have haste. Preferably you should have cards that can return Garna to your hand so you can continuously bring your creatures back from the yard and attack with them as much as possible and overwhelm your opponents. This card is about 20 cents. The next commander we're looking at is Quickbeam, Upstart Ent. This is a mono green treefolk that says, whenever Quickbeam, Upstart Ent, or another treefolk enters the battlefield under your control, up to 2 target creatures each get +2/+2 and gain trample until end of turn. This will definitely be a treefolk themed deck, but limiting to one creature type can be a fun challenge and also make it easier to know what cards to put in. The strategy for this deck is to get Quickbeam out as soon as possible and start playing moderate to cheaper cost treefolk like Battlewand Oak and Treefolk Seedlings, and then attack with as many as you can once Quickbeam's ability triggers. The only downside is that Quickbeam is quite an expensive creature at 6 mana, so if you can play something like Emerald Medallion to make it cheaper, that will help you out a lot. The last commander we're looking at today is Denethor, Ruling Steward. Denethor is an Orzhov commander that's text says, at the beginning of your end step, if a creature died under your control this turn, create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. And you can pay 2 to sacrifice another creature, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Thankfully this commander isn't too expensive, so you can most likely play it on turn 3. When I first saw this card, the first thing I thought of was a sacrifice/life deck. Once per turn, Denethor can sacrifice a creature and then create a 1/1 white human soldier, which then you can sack later. A good strategy for this deck would either be a continuous stream of recurring cards and sacrifice synergy to swarm the board with soldiers, or tons of mana and sacrifices and make all the opponents lose life and you gain life. Either strategy would work, but personally I like the idea of a token deck with lots of token/soldier synergy cards like Valiant Veteran or Company Commander. In general, Denethor is a great commander that you can pick up for about 10 cents. Thank you for watching the video, hopefully you enjoyed it and learned something about these unpopular commanders. See you next time.